Let's jump right into this explainer. Have you ever watched your company drop millions on some massive, shiny new tech platform that promised to just change everything, only to see it completely fizzle out? Yeah, you definitely aren't alone. Today, we're unpacking the myth of data self-service and exactly why these platforms fail entirely without people development. Okay, let's dive into this. We live in an era that is just obsessed with democratization, right? We're constantly bombarded with this idea of putting AI and big data directly into the hands of everyday users. But the source material for our analysis kicks off with a really jarring statement. It says self-service is the biggest misconception in data and AI in a long time. It kind of forces you to stop and ask, if self-service is such a given, why on earth is it being called a massive misconception? Section 1. The self-service promise. The marketed utopian narrative. So here's the standard corporate playbook we see all the time. Step 1, build beautiful data products. Step 2, buy a really fancy platform. And step 3, tell the business, hey, go ahead, self-serve. It's basically the digital equivalent of, the whole if you build it, they will come mentality. The underlying assumption here is that buying a license and just giving people a verbal green light is going to magically transform everyone into a data-driven genius overnight. Now, just to be totally clear, the platforms themselves are genuinely impressive. We're not bashing the engineers or the vendors here. These modern tools can process millions of rows in literal milliseconds, and they've got these gorgeous user interfaces. They are absolute marvels of engineering. So the failure we're unpacking today, it's not a failure of code. It's actually a failure of expectation. Section 2, the user paradox, the stark reality of corporate adoption. Which brings us to a really critical question. But seriously, who exactly is this you that's supposed to serve themselves? When leadership sends out that super enthusiastic, company-wide, go self-serve email, who is on the receiving end? Because the entire premise of self-service hinges completely on the user actually being equipped to serve themselves. And here's the harsh reality of that. First off, everyday business users rarely even know where to find these products. And second, even if they do manage to stumble upon them, they don't know what to actually do with them in practice. Think about it. You've got a brilliant HR director looking for a retention dashboard, or maybe a veteran supply chain manager just staring blankly at an empty query bar. They know their jobs inside and out, absolutely, but they lack the foundational data literacy required to navigate these specific tools. I mean, you can't serve yourself in a buffet if you don't even know where the restaurant is, right? Now, what's really interesting about this is how it creates this tragic irony. On one side, you have the business users. The platform is literally built for them, but as we just established, they can't use it. Then, on the other side, it's offered to highly technical folks, like your coders and data architects, who honestly do not need it because they can already query the data and build the pipelines themselves. The whole utopian promise just lands in an entirely empty space. The target audience is completely mismatched with the reality of the tool. Section 3, the capability solution, bridging the human gap. So the fundamental truth here is that the hard part was never the technology. It's getting people to actually use it. Building a data dashboard, that's a known, predictable science. But changing human behavior? Well, we're creatures of habit. Expecting someone to just abandon a spreadsheet they've trusted for a decade simply because you bought a slick new interface, that's a fundamental misunderstanding of how change works. Getting a veteran employee to overcome their fear of breaking a new system, finding the time to learn it, and completely rewiring how they make their daily decisions, that is the real marathon. The technology is literally just the starting line. So the crucial point is this: self-service is not something you can just buy. It is a capability you build in your people. You cannot purchase empowerment via a software license. True data self-service requires deliberate, sustained education. It means actually sitting down with teams, understanding their real-world workflows, and showing them exactly how the tool makes their specific job easier. It requires mentorship, foundational data literacy training, and actively building up the confidence of your workforce. If you want a self-serve data culture, you have to treat it as an educational endeavor, not just a procurement one. Because look, if leaders stick to the old playbook and just skip building that capability in their people, that shiny new platform is just going to gather dust. All those millions of dollars and brilliant engineering hours, they just result in the world's most expensive digital paperweight. Without human development, the platform is entirely worthless to the business. Which leaves us with a vital question to ponder about your own organization's digital investments. Are you just buying platforms, or are you actually building your people?
Because if your strategy ignores the human capability gap, you're setting yourself up for failure from day one. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and definitely keep asking the right questions about the tools you're using every day.